California has been the leader in crop production in the United States since 1948, top agricultural producer. California right now produces half of the nation's fruits and vegetables. With global warming in California, we will see higher temperatures, higher CO2 concentrations, and a change in water availability. At a low estimate, we expect to see at least 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit in mean annual temperature change in California. However, it could be as high as 8 to 10 degrees.
If California experiences an 8 to 10 degree Fahrenheit warming, that puts really substantial pressure on wine grape growing and makes it very difficult for most areas throughout the state to be able to produce high quality wine grapes.
All right, let's go.
I've been a winemaker for 23 years. Started winemaking when I was 16 with my grandfather and never stopped. I think what most would agree, 80 to 90% of the quality of grapes is associated with climate and temperature more so than soil or water or human input. If our vineyards were to warm by 7 or 8 degrees over the course of a short period of time, the quality of the grapes that we have now would not be the same in the future. And grapes are a long-term investment. They're in the ground, viable for between 35 and 40 years. I just don't think it's a viable option to just say, well, let's just change because the environment's changed. Switching crops would be expensive. The grapes require 3 to 4 years to develop, and it's very expensive, upwards of $25,000 an acre on average to plant and establish a vineyard. And so for a lot of people, it wouldn't be an option. It would run them out of business.
We have a $33 billion industry in agriculture here in California. A lot of that is specialty crops, which California is the main or the only producer for the nation, and a lot of those are vulnerable to these types of climate changes.
Okay, we're here in my Bing and Rainier cherry orchard. It's the middle of January right now, and the trees are dormant and trying to soak up chill hours right now.
Chill hours are the number of hours that must be achieved below a certain temperature for different fruit trees to flower and produce fruit effectively. And what recent models are showing there is that, at least in some areas of the state, chill hours are being reduced enough that crops are less productive and the fruit is of lower quality.
Historically, chill hours 1,300 to 1,400 a year was somewhat common, and 900 seems to be the minimum that we need for the cherries to set a decent crop. However, we don't get that very often anymore. There was a year in the last 10, I think we got 1,300 hours. Beautiful cherry crop. Everything sat real nice. It was a great year. But since then, it's been much below that. 400, 500, 600 seems to be typical now. The question always comes up is why? Why are you having these years consecutively with low chilling? And that's a good question there, is why all of a sudden in the last 10 years or so are we having this?
I think there's an immediate need for a change in research and policy agenda related to global climate change in California. Of course, California is only one small part of the world, but we are a leader, and people are paying attention to the way that we're dealing with this problem. The Climate Action Team, for example, different scientists getting on board. So I feel that if California sets an example of how to deal with these issues, they can have a bigger impact than the fact that we're just a small localized region on the globe.